If you're thinking about implementing the Smith maneuver, but you're curious to see how the numbers pan out in the long run, well, this video is for you because today I'm joined by one of my clients who's gracious enough to let me walk through his personal scenario. If you're new here, welcome. This is the place to be if you're a Canadian on your path to financial freedom. Let's dive into it. All right. So today, this is a very special day. I've got my business partner, Brandon Love, on here. He's been kind enough to let us run through his personal scenario for running Smith maneuver, which he's starting this month. And I'm really excited to just show you in on the calculator. And this is something that Brandon, you and I have been doing for quite a while for our clients. And we saw a gap in the marketplace where these strategies are so vital for a lot of people, but not a lot of people knew about the Smith maneuver. And we felt that financial advisors, mortgage brokers, accountants, they're dropping the ball. They weren't introducing these strategies and these concepts. So that's kind of what we're focused on lately in our business. And what better than running our own Smith maneuver scenario? So thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to recommend anything to anyone, you should have done it yourself, or at least understand fully how it works. So I'm happy to be sort of the guinea pig of our team going through it first. And it's going to benefit myself. I already know that, but it's also going to benefit our clients going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's we're gonna be documenting this along the way too. Brandon's got his own YouTube channel. I've got mine. I'm running cash damming with the Smith maneuver as well. So we're really gonna be documenting our progress and just being fully transparent and open to what we've got going on.
Totally.
Okay. So I already have the calculator open here with the results of running cash damming. So surprise, surprise, we've got the numbers in front of you, but we're going to dive into how we got to this net worth improvement of 714 and how the amortization was improved so well here for Brandon. So I'm just going to run you through some of Brandon's information here. So we've got the household income. We've left a lot of these blank because they didn't apply to him, but if you're someone going through your calculator and this is applicable to you, then we would input some of this data here. Same thing with, I'll just skip over some of the boring stuff, but we'll go to the actual mortgage information here. So Brandon right now has got 360 left on his mortgage. He's got an interest rate of 519. He's done a really good job of prepaying his mortgage over what, the last 4 years, I think you've had.
No, I've had the place for since May 2024.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
So
mean,
you've done a really good job of paying that down.
yeah.
So he's at 16.3 years left on his amortization. He's biweekly payment, and that all of this will have a direct correlation to what we can take from the line of credit, as well as how fast we can put the money into his investments. So for our scenario here, we're using an 8% return that we both feel very confident Brandon can get as a return over the long term. Because I mean, you tell me, you've been investing for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been investing since I had virtually no money. I started with like $1,000 in there, and I've got it up to just over a quarter of a mil. So I feel very confident managing that myself and getting those kinds of returns ongoing.
Yeah, and a key part with you too is you have the right mindset. We often say that the Smith maneuver, the biggest risk with the Smith maneuver is the actual individual running the strategy. If they aren't confident in when their investments are down and they're not confident that they won't pull their money out with a panic, then the Smith maneuver may not be best for them, because you do have to have the right mindset going in. You're going to have down years in the market. The key is to not panic and sell off your investments. This is a long-term strategy, and I know we won't have that issue with you.
Yeah, for context, like when COVID hit, I had quite a large portfolio. It was all of my money, and it went way down. And at that time, I was like, "Fuck it, this is a great opportunity," and I bought heavy. And that was one of the big jumps of the trajectory of my portfolio going up, was just being able to stay emotionally disconnected from the money itself in that scenario.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I love the Smith maneuver is it's in a way a forced dollar cost average strategy, because you're reinvesting the same amount every single month from your available HELOC. So during those downtimes, as long as you're sticking to the Smith maneuver plan, you're actually dollar cost averaging, which is studies have shown year after year that it's one of the best ways to actually have the biggest growth for your portfolio. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we can throttle this down. So some people do feel comfortable starting off the Smith maneuver with borrowing, say, half the amount of the equity being released every single month. I always suggest if you are comfortable with it, go to the max because the more money we can put in a shorter period of time, the better you're off from a net worth perspective in 15, 20 years from now. So we both agreed that we're putting the 100% of the 918 that Brandon's going to have released every single month. And this is coming from the principal amount that he's paying on his mortgage. So every single month, 918 from his regular mortgage payment. So I'm going to go over to the rest of the accelerators here. With the Smith maneuver, you have certain accelerators to accelerate your plan and your growth. So one of the things that we agreed that Brandon's going to be doing is the cash flow diversion. So why don't you speak to this, Brandon, how we got to that $1,000 a month and explain what we're doing here?
Yeah. So, do we have it at 1,000 or 2,000 there? Sorry, Tom.
We've got 1,000. We started off with 2,000 and we dropped it to 1,000 just to be conservative. But that's a good point. We'll show 2,000 in a second here too to compare.
Yeah, so as you guys could see, I've been pretty diligent with making prepayment privileges every month. Basically, anytime I come into a lump sum of money, I shift some money over and I make a prepayment on my mortgage. I also do this for like contributions to TFSA, RSP, et cetera. But once I maxed those accounts out, I knew that I was leaning towards implementing the Smith maneuver. And I was like, okay, in the meantime, I'm just going to power the pay down of the mortgage itself. So I've made over 2,000 a month in contributions to that, and I feel like ongoing 1,000 is reasonable while still enjoying some life and having some other fun on the side.
Yeah, so what he's doing there is you're taking that $1,000 every single month and you're applying it as an extra prepayment to the mortgage. That's going to pay down the mortgage faster, which is going to allow you to release more equity on in your property and more limit on the line of credit, which you can then invest right away. And that's why you're going to see quite a bit of a jump in your net wealth improvement. Like if we put this as $0, you'll see this jump down to 318. So some of these accelerators are very, very powerful. With $1,000 a month, you're jumping up to 714, and that's over the course of 17 years, by the way. And if we put this to 2000, if we just jump even further. So, Brandon, you mentioned you're likely going to be veering towards 2000, but again, just to be conservative, we're going to keep that at 1000. And the same can be true. Like if you were, sorry, go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say one of the things I like about this is like this is part of the strategy where yes, you have this roadmap and yes, you have this plan and it's very crystallized, but you can have some flexibility with things like the prepayment privilege where like, all the way up until Christmas, I might do 2,000 a month. And then Christmas, I've got a bunch of presents for family. I only do 500 there, or I don't do it at all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change too much throughout the whole journey of things.
Yeah, you're not set on that thousand. It can fluctuate month after month depending on, how much cash you have that month. And the cool thing about you is the added layer is that you are incorporated, so you can pull out as much or as little as you want from the corporation. And then we're talking about a whole other strategy of investing in the corp, and then we're kind of going down the rabbit hole. But this option here is if you were to still say you were still trying to fill up your TFSA and your other registered accounts like your RSP, and you are diverting say 1,000 a month there, then you can add this on and say, hey, you know what? I want to optimize on the Smith maneuver plan and I'm going to divert that extra 1,000. And then as you can see here, it's the same net worth improvement. We're just shifting the cash flow. In your situation, your case, you're already maxed out in your registered accounts as of this year. So that is going to be $0 there. Cash flow, Dan, we are not doing. That is for someone that is owning any real estate in their personal name, your rental properties in your corp. So we're not talking about that. The dividend reinvestment accelerator is a unique one in the sense that it can actually go either way for you. It can reduce your net worth improvement or it can increase your net worth improvement. So we played around with this and we toggled this off because as you can see here, it does reduce your net worth improvement, not by a whole lot here, but it does reduce it. So why implement it if it's not going to be in your favor? And what we're doing there is we're taking the annual distributions or whether it's monthly or quarterly of the dividends that you have in your investments, and we're applying that as a prepayment towards your mortgage. Now, your initial thought might be, okay, paying down the mortgage quicker is one of the best things we can do, which is true, but counterintuitive to using the dividend income and reinvesting it into your investments right away in the form of a drip. So you want to weigh both options, and this toggle here really just gives you that option.
Yeah, and Tom, can we go to that drip thing once more there and toggle it on, but put it at a 5% dividend and to see the difference there?
Sure.
And then just flick it off for me for a sec. Okay, so the difference is nominal. It's also something that like the difference over 17 years is not huge, but it's something that I would have to move the dividends to the Smith Maneuver account,
Yeah.
make the pre. That's a lot of steps and back and forth. So to do it, why bother?
100%. Great point. Like the more steps you're adding, the more annoying it's going to be. And the really cool part about some of these self-directed platforms like Wealth Simple is you can literally in the app, you can toggle it on and off of whether you want to reinvest those dividends. It's as easy as just toggling on and off. So for me, I like to reinvest my dividends into my investments to keep it growing faster. But that's a personal preference. Some of these plans that we do, it actually will improve their portfolio based on a couple other items like how high their interest rate is, as an example. So this one here, you are taking full advantage of. So I think put that back down to 60. So prime the pump. Why don't you explain what you're doing here, Brandon?
Yeah, so I have made those prepayments that we already talked about. So that's a room that's already accrued on my readvanceable home equity line of credit. And then I had another margin account that had 17,000 left in it. And I sold my position there. I transferred the money back to my Scotia account and I made another prepayment there. So now I have just over 60,000 available on that line of credit. So what I'm going to do is instead of each month waiting for the principal pay down from this and investing just that principal, I'm priming the pump by putting that initial 60K in.
Yeah, and this is super powerful because you're starting off your portfolio with $60,000. And obviously, the higher the number, the faster it's going to grow with compound interest. And technically, we already did half these steps with a debt swap. The debt swap is exactly what Brandon's doing. He sold off his non-registered investments. He prepaid his mortgage. Now he's taking it back out in the form of the line of credit and investing it. And that is the debt swap. So technically this one could go here, but since he's already done most of the steps, we're putting it in the prime the pump. The main difference there is if he didn't have any non-registered investments, but he just had freed up room on his line of credit to invest, then that's where the prime the pump would come into play. And keep in mind, prime the pump is the only accelerator here we are actually taking on additional leverage. Brandon technically isn't because he's doing he's doing the debt swap. But if he didn't have those investments and he just had freed up room on his line of credit, then it would be additional leverage. So it's just something to keep in mind. All right. So actually, how you want to take this, buddy?
Um, yeah, so I think one thing that's pretty cool on this report you generated, and it's a lot sexier than the napkin math that I had been doing with myself and ChatGPT, is the income required to pay off the mortgage without the Smith maneuver. Um, Going into that, like I would have to earn $897,000 to get to the exact spot I'm going to be at just implementing this strategy. And to me, that's huge because you look at the direction Canada's going and with taxation, and I think it's going to only get worse. And so doing this and just knowing that I followed this strategy and in 17 years, I have my first almost million ready to roll. I'm in a great spot.
Great point. And in your case too, we're not doing where most people when they're implementing the Smith maneuver, there is no additional leverage there. It's a debt conversion play. You're investing the available equity that you create from paying down your mortgage. So in this case, this net worth value is after Brandon pays the mortgage if he chooses to do so. So you do have an option when you come to debt conversion and you have that fully converted debt and all you have is a tax deductible loan, you can keep that forever if you wanted to. Or you can pay that off at any point by selling off your portfolio and paying off that mortgage, which we're already taking into account here. You can see here the actual mortgage amount that he has remaining by the time he hits the portfolio value of just under 1.1 on year 17.
Yeah. And for context, I'm 33 right now. So that puts me at age 50. I'm obviously going to earn more money as my career trajectory continues. And so it sets me up for a really nice retirement picture at age 50. I don't know if I ever will retire because I enjoy my work, but it's just kind of cool knowing that I could have several million in the tank at that point.
Yeah, it gives you options. That's exactly what it is. And for you and I, the next steps going forward is we're gonna sit down and we're gonna go through the proper account structure that you have to have in order to run your Smith maneuver plan. We're gonna go through um, minor tweaks to make sure that you're optimized properly from a bank account structure. We're gonna hop on some calls, go through the transfer of money for the first couple months, make sure you're comfortable going forward on your own.
Beautiful. Looking forward to it, Tom.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Cheers.